Hey guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play the Hills of Aberfeldy by Ed Sheeran, which is a great acoustic track. For the basics of this song, you'll need a guitar in DADGAd tuning, and then you'll need a capo on the 5th fret of your guitar. So let me show you how to do that. So to get into DADGAd tuning, what we'll need to do is first take our low E string down to a D. So that will be down 2 semitones, E down to E flat / D sharp, and then down to a D note. The next string we'll need to detune is our B string. So our B will go down from a B to a B flat / A sharp, down one more half step to an A note. Finally, our high E string will go down to a D. So from E down to E flat / D sharp, and then down one more semitone to a D note. So our guitar tuning is now D, A, D, G, A, D. After you've detuned your guitar, you'll then take your capo and place it on the 5th fret of your guitar. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to improve any guitar in general, then check out Guitar Zero to Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. All right, let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's start with verse number 1. Now, in the actual recording, this is just a cappella, so it's just Ed Sheeran's vocals, but there is still a chord progression that's inherently behind this vocal melody. I will note that this first verse in the recording, and even when he plays this live, it's performed with freestyle timing. So he's not adhering to specific beats in a bar, but what I show you below is a close approximation and a good guide of how long you want to hold out each chord. First off, let's take a look at the 3 chord shapes that we'll need for this verse. So our first chord shape is a D5. Now we're just going to call this D for short, but basically it's really simple. You're just going to need your index finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And you can hit all the strings there, and that's our D5 chord. Our next chord is a G add 9, but we're just going to call it a G for short. What we'll do is we'll take our index finger, we'll just slide that up to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and your middle finger will reach over the top to hit the 5th fret of the 6th string. Now, as you're reaching over to hit that 6th string, you also want to lightly touch the 5th string with that middle finger so that that 5th string is muted. And that is our G chord. And our 3rd and final shape for this verse is an A add 11. We're just going to take this exact shape and move it up 2 frets to 7th and 6th frets relative to the capo. And this is A add 11. Now this verse is pretty simple. It's just comprised of those 3 chords, but the trickiest part really is remembering the chord sequence. And there's also a couple of situations where instead of a bar being comprised of 6 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we have short bars that are just 3 beats long. And you'll see this down below in the tab. So let's just run through it one line of tab at a time. So for the first line of tab, we start with our D5. Now for this first verse, I'm just going to pinch the 6th, 3rd, and 2nd string all together at once with my thumb, index, and middle finger, like that for each chord shape. You can choose to strum each chord if you want to, but I'm just going to pinch those 3 strings of each chord. So we hold that for 3 beats, then we go up to the G for 3 beats and back to the D, which is held out for a full bar. And then we go back to the G, and this bar is just 3 beats long. Then we go back to the D, where we return to 6 beats for the full bar. So the first line of tab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now for the second line of tab, we're going to go up to our G for 3 beats, down to our D for 3 beats, and then we'll go up to our A, and that bar is just 3 beats long, and then we go back to our D, which is 6 beats long. So the second line of tab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now our third line of tab is similar to the first line of tab, except we're cutting out the last 2 bars. So it's just the first 2 bars, which goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the fourth line of tab is the same as the second line of tab, except we're adding an extra 3 beats to the end. So the fourth line of tab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, And that's it for the first verse, which is just repeated through twice. So I'll play it all through once and I'll count along so you have an approximation of the timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Again, the timing below is just an approximation because Ed Sheeran does it in a freestyle manner. So the chord changes are following more the lyric and the vocal melody rather than specific timing. So now we get to chorus 1 and there's 4 lines of tab here. So for our first line of tab, we're going to start with our G chord, so our G add 9. Now our strumming pattern is really nice and easy. It's just going to be down, down, up, and in succession, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now each time I show a chord down here, you're going to be basically playing that strumming pattern once. Or another way of thinking about it is that one full bar is comprised of 2 strumming patterns. So we're going to play that G for 4 strumming patterns or 2 bars, and then we're going to go down to the D for 2 strumming patterns, and then up to the A for 2 strumming patterns. So the first line of tab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that first line of tab is repeated through twice, and then we get to the second line of tab, and we're going to start with the G again for 1 strumming pattern, and then we go up to the A for 1 strumming pattern, and then we'll go up to a B minor 7. So this is a new chord shape for us. We're going to take our ring finger and put it on the 9th fret relative to the capo here, and then our index finger goes on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Again, you want to have that 5th string muted as you're fretting the 6th string. So that will be our B minor 7, which will be played for 2 strumming patterns. So the first 2 bars. And then we're going to go down to an E minor 7 at 11. So to play that, we're going to play the 2nd fret of the 6th string. And again, keep the 5th string muted by lightly touching it with whatever finger is muting the 6th string. So that is our E minor 7 at 11. We're going to play that for 1 strumming pattern. Then we'll go up to a D/F sharp. So it's the same shape as this B minor 7, but we are fretting 4th fret of the 6th string and 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So that's our D/F sharp for 1 strumming pattern, and then back up to our G chord for 2 strumming patterns. So the 3rd and 4th bar. And the 2nd bar in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next we move on to the 3rd line of tab. We're just going to continue on with this G chord for 1 more strumming pattern. So down, down, up, down, up. And then we end with just hitting the bass note or the chord, up to you. And then we're going to kick into the break riff, which is a lot of fun. One of the best riffs that Ed Sheeran's come up with in a long time, in my opinion, on the acoustic guitar. So for this finger picking, our thumb is going to take care of the 6th and 5th strings, and our index and middle finger will take care of the 4th and 3rd strings respectively. So we're going to start this riff by hitting the 5th string, and we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret, and then to the 4th fret with our ring finger. So we only need to pluck this string once, but we're hammering on twice, like that. So hammer on, and then we're going to lift our fingers and just pinch the 6th and 4th string together to start our next bar. So we're going to pinch that, and then we're going to hit the bass note by itself. And at this point, take your index finger, and we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret of the 4th string and pull off. And then with our ring finger, go down to the 4th fret of the 5th string. So that hammer on and pull off sequence is really fast. Now notice how I'm not plucking the 4th string. That hammer on pull off is done all by my left hand, and I'm only plucking the 5th string with my thumb after that pull off. And from the start of the bar, after that we're going to pluck the open 4th string, and then you're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret with your index, and then 4th fret with your ring finger. So another sequence of hammer-ons. And then index up to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and that's going to end that little run of notes. We'll hold that note out. At the very end of this bar, we'll quickly pluck the 4th string before we transition to our next shape. But in total so far, including the lead-in notes, we have this. For this 3rd bar, we're going to go to our G shape that we had. We're going to pinch the 6th and 3rd strings, so that's with our thumb and middle finger. After the pinch, we'll hit the bass note again, and then quickly slide your index finger down to the 2nd fret and pluck that. And then we end this little section with 2 more notes, the open 6th string and the open 4th string. And so far. And then you're going to take your index finger to the 4th fret of the 4th string. We'll pinch the 6th and 4th together, hold that out for a little bit, and then 4 more notes. So bass, 4th string, bass, open 4th string. In the second half. And the bar in total. We move on to this 4th and final liner tab. This first half of this bar is the same as the first half of our previous bar. So we start with that pinch, bass note, 2nd fret, open 6th and open 4th string. So now for this second half of this bar, we're going to take our index finger up to that 4th fret of the 4th string. We'll start with a pinch, and then we'll hit the bass note, pluck the 4th string again, but then we'll quickly slide down to the 2nd. After that slide, you're going to hold it onto it for a little bit and then pull off to the open 4th string. Now, when you pull off, you're pulling the string in a downwards motion like this, and that way you'll get that 2nd note ringing out. If you just lift your finger, nothing's going to actually happen. So you need to apply force into the fretboard and then down. And the second half. For the next bar, you'll put your index finger back down, and we're going to pinch the 5th and 4th strings together. Hold that out for a little bit, and then you'll slide your index finger up, back down to the 2nd, and then pull off to the open 4th string. In this bar. So it's a really quick slide up, slide down, and pull off. And then we'll end by hitting the open 6th string. And you can just hold it out for 2 bars if you want to, or in this second bar, you can just start strumming the D chord again. Completely up to you. So I'm going to play this break riff from the start of the 3rd line of tab, and I'm going to play it along with the metronome at 3 different speeds. And altogether, chorus 1 will sound like this. Next we move on to verse number 2, which is similar to verse number 1. There's just a couple of changes. We're going to be implementing some strumming. So we're just going to use that simple down, down, up strumming pattern. The first difference is in the second liner tab. So we're just going to cut out 3 beats here. So for the second bar, we're going to have our A and our D for one strumming pattern each. So that's the first difference in verse number 2. And the second difference is just in the fourth liner tab. We're just cutting out the very final 3 beats that we had from verse 1. So that final D chord is just held out for 6 beats. Again, each time you see a chord down here in the tab, that's just me indicating that you should strum that for one strumming pattern. But altogether, verse 2 will simply sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next we move on to chorus 2, which is identical to chorus number 1. The only exception here is that the second liner chords is played through twice and not once. The final thing to learn is the outro. And again, we're going to revert back to what we did in the verse number 1, which is we're just going to strum each chord once and hold it out for its allotted time. We're not going to be playing a strumming pattern here. What I'm going to do is pinch the 6th, 3rd, and 2nd string for each chord, but you could strum each chord if you wanted to as well. Now verse number 3 is simply the first 2 lines of tab of verse number 2, just repeated through twice. So it's really simple, we've already basically learnt it. I'll play it through once, but it will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's played through twice, and that's the end of the song. So overall, a pretty simple song to play. There's only a few chord shapes that you need to learn. However, the trickiest thing is remembering the structure of the different verses, and then the break riff is a little bit tricky with the finger picking. But once you get that, it's actually pretty simple. The song structure just goes verse number 1, chorus 1, verse number 2, chorus 2, and then verse number 3, which is the outro. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of the song and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. A big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Oh, leaves are covered in snow, and the water's frozen. All along for you to be the one that I'm holding, and warm me down to my bones as you lay beside me, hold me close. Oh, leaves are starting to fall, and the sun grows cold, and my heart might break from the
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.